Hi, and welcome back to Particleworks Power-Ups. Today's request comes from an engineering consultancy. They told us we would like a method to apply the simulation best practices for a number of different cases directly to a simulation. Please create a macro to do this for us. This is possible to do within Particleworks using a scene template, however this needs to be done when the scene is created. It is rather easy to forget this step and only realise after you've already imported all of your models, at which point it's too late. Using the API allows this to be applied at any stage of the simulation. I'm starting here with the usual initiation, i.e. setting up the bin folder, importing pwpy, and setting up the session and project. I begin by importing the necessary modules. Today's script is rather simple, so the only module needed today is system. The first thing that I do is create the settings dictionary, where each of the different presets are going to be stored. For this example, I'm going to include free surface splashing and high tank level best practices. I'm focusing only on the simulation settings. The settings themselves are stored in individual dictionaries so that the setting name can be used as the key, simplifying things down the line. It is possible to include any setting here, however including anything not located in scene.properties will require additional complexity in how they are assigned. The specific property names can be found in the SDK manual, using scene.properties, or by looking for a scene.json file. After this, I create a dialog box using the input class. For this script, I have three variables that I would like the user to assign, the first of which is a drop-down of the different presets that populates the settings dictionary. Using settings.keys means that I do not need to add in an extra option every time I add in another preset, saving coding time and also reducing the scope for errors. The next two variables are the maximum expected velocity and the particle size. I'm using these to populate the initial time step, speed of sound, and obviously the particle size itself. I use the usual system exit for if the dialog box is closed erroneously and assign the three answers as variables. I create a variable for the settings dictionary of the selected preset. I then loop for each of the settings in the dictionary, i.e. the keys, and then I apply each of the settings to the scene. The turbulence model requires a fluid assigning as a target physical property, so this setting requires an additional step for selecting the desired fluid. In this script, I'm using a try to select the first material in scene materials that is a fluid. In the case that there are no fluids in scene.materials, essentially the only way the above code can error, a fluid is instead created. The physical property for the turbulence model is then set using the ID of the fluid. The particle size, initial time step, and speed of sound are all assigned using the particle size and maximum velocity. Here I have the output of the earlier gearbox creation script. All settings are as they would be in a freshly created scene. I apply the script and then select my desired preset from the list and enter my particle size and maximum expected velocity of the simulation. The code will then apply all of the presets inside the selected dictionary. In the simulation settings, we can see that the code has run successfully. If you're looking for a more efficient way to use Particleworks, or have a specific issue that you would like support with, then our contact details are on screen now. For more information about our full API online training course, please visit the contact page for details. See you next time.